are extraordinarily welcome, and every so often we have the pleasure of welcoming Chris Roberts, the chairman of the U3A, the University of the Third Age, here in the heart of Newry. I would say one of the biggest in the land you are. You're about 700, 800 now.
7,500 practically, yeah. Rowan, yeah.
And that's been, I've seen it grow. It's been a growing phenomenon for as long as I can remember, because I remember it all when it started. We house round the corner. Benny McKay and one or two others, and that was it.
Benny, the well-known musician and poets.
Absolutely.
And cohorts.
Absolutely.
I think there were 60 in those days.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were 60 in those days.
I see the advertising for the U3A. It said for retired but not retiring people. I find that interesting. What kind of people are you getting? Are you getting fuddy-duddies? Are you getting adventurers? You're getting a mixture, I suppose.
I think we're probably getting, just like society itself, really, I suppose, Rowan, that we get across the board. I would possibly agree with you. We might have the odd fuddy-duddy or two up there. Myself maybe being one of them, for all I know. But a good cross-section. I mean, we do have people there who have worked
putting people forward for the 22nd of May elections as independent candidates. You have a repository of great wisdom up there in the U3A.
We have.
You could make a difference to the lives of older people. That's the one thing you're not doing at the U3A, is politics.
I suppose, yeah, well, I think to a certain extent, Rowan, we're actually constitutionally constrained by that. Now, I can say that at this time of the morning because I do have my own teeth.
It sounds painful to be constitutionally constrained.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you'd be sort of reaching for a purgative of some sort. You know.
So politics is out. You're not allowed to do it.
Politics is out because as an organisation, we very often across these islands, and I dare say in other parts of the world where they have U3As, we get invites from groups and charities who actually have a political agenda.
Yes.
And they ask us to support them in whatever shape or form.
You stay clear.
Our members are perfectly at liberty to be involved in any of these things. We as an organisation are not able to constitutionally, that we do not support.
So it's the primacy of the independent human being.
Yes.
He or she can do what they want to do, but the organisation not.
Absolutely.
How long are you in U3A?
5 years.
5 years, relatively newcomer. But you come to it and you bring a breath of freshness. You bring a new approach. You bring an enthusiasm. Your predecessors all had that, of course, in their own very special ways. But cometh the hour, cometh the man. And I'm very impressed with your outreach to the world via the social media and stuff like that. But that's something that all your people are learning more and more about up there.
To be honest, Rowan, thank you for the nice for the nice compliments. To be honest, in terms of technology and all the new methods of communication, I would be well at the back of the queue.
You're at the front of the queue and using it.
In terms of that,
at the moment, the D's over there doing the technology. You and I are going out with the greatest of ease and much alacrity to the east coast of America, the west coast, to all of the costas down there in the Mediterranean shores. So we're making good use of this.
Absolutely,
this
but without
having to switchery.
Without the good D, if it was left to me, I'd be lost, certainly. I'm sure you would make a better fist.
No, I certainly wouldn't.
But we have, as a matter of fact, a very interesting thing came up at, there was a meeting of the committee on Monday, the new committee.
Yes.
Which came into being just after the AGM a few weeks ago. And one of the committee members who volunteered to be part of our PR team.
Wow.
Actually came up with this amazing idea, which was our own Facebook page.
Yes, why not?
Which would be a wonderful innovation. Absolutely. Because it puts us out there. It puts us out there, Ron, totally on a par with the new generations, if you will. those young people for whom this is just a way of life. This is like, I remember as a student going back very many decades now, but one of the first things I did as a student, wakened in the morning, hand fumbled out to the side of the bed, on went the tranny.
Oh,
and I was,
goodness gracious.
Wow, was I a cutting edge guy in those days.
Yeah.
Today, you talk to me about Facebook, you talk to me about Twitter,
iPods,
tweeting, and I kind of go, whoops, what's that all about,
Well, I'm automatically debarred from tweaking. What was it called?
Tweeting, I think.
Tweeting. I'm automatically debarred from it because I'm only allowed 140 characters. Now, I remember Patrick Riddle, a wonderful old journalist of Northern Ireland. He was a columnist in the Sunday News, as it was then. And 50 years ago, I sent him one of my first columns, and he said back to me, maybe prophesying what was to come, he said back to me, "Young man, in your writing, stand naked as a Grecian statue. Cut, and cut again." So that was Patrick Riddle. Now
good advice.
You've got 140 not words but characters.
Yeah.
Sure, it's terribly difficult. I couldn't be bothered with all of that. But a lovely thing happened this morning. I got a. There's something I can't even pronounce it. LinkedIn. What's it called?
Oh yeah.
LinkedIn. I got this thing from asking to be my connection friend. John Cushnahan, former leader of the Alliance Party, with whom I had worked back in the 70s. And he said, blah, blah, blah. And there was a lovely compliment came when we engaged, remembering the days we worked together. But you mentioned something there, Chris, about many, many decades ago. This is the land we occupy now.
Yes.
We're able to look back many, many days. I'm older than you. I'm 70. What age are you?
67.
Yeah, I'm ahead of you. But I mean, you're in the same territory. I am finding that more serious things in life occupy my thoughts. I have a more balanced approach to things, and that comes with the years. It also comes with the realization of of your mortality.
Yes.
You're not going to be here forever.
Yes.
And that's what all your people are coming to terms with in their own different ways, because we're all of that age.
Absolutely, Rowan, and I think what they're doing as well as that is that that dreadful expression about when you get to a certain age, if you don't conduct your life in a certain way, you could be deemed to be in the waiting room.
Oh yeah,
just
absolutely.
waiting for the arrival of the Grim Reaper,
absolutely,
complete with scythe and arrivederci.
Take you out, goodbye.
And I think I think what most of our members, probably all of our members, have is that they are the living embodiment, if you will, of the line from the great Welsh poet, the Dylan Thomas line, "Do not go gently into that dark night." I think the vast majority of our members have no intention. They may have to go one day, but they ain't going gently.
And I think there's also that kind of Wagnerian roar from them. We're here. Look, we're the U3A,
Absolutely.
and we're doing things.
Absolutely.
Let's remind people, just bullet point as they come to our heads, what kind. You do wine tasting, and I love that.
Wine tasting.
You do?
I personally am very fond of wine tasting.
As am I, indeed. What else do you do?
And have led some of the wine tasting sessions. Just before the AGM a few weeks ago, Rowan, one of the tasks I had to fulfill constitutionally, I'm sorry to use that word again, but it was an obligation, one that you can't escape from, and that was that you had to give a chairman's report. It's like when you and I were at school. It was like the school meeting or the parents' meeting where the headmaster got up and said, "What a marvelous year the school has had! So many boys off to Oxford, Cambridge." You do that sort of thing, and so I actually got our syllabus out, and I wanted to be accurate in the things I was saying. I counted the membership roll, 742 members as of the 10th of March. And I counted the different activities, the separate, disparate activities on our syllabus, 82. 82 separate, diverse activities that we actually offer our membership at the moment, and indeed prospective members. And that goes up all the time as somebody gets a good idea. Now, I have to say, in all honesty, Rowan, some of them fall flat.
Yeah.
Some of them don't get off the ground at all. They are, you know, that wonderful quotation from is it the famous Henry Fonda movie, where they're set in the jury room, and one old fella says, "Let's run that up the flagpole and see how many people salute."
Yeah, but that's
and we come up with that sort of thing. Somebody has an idea.
It's always subject to the test of popularity.
Test of popularity.
And you run with it.
If it gets a salute from enough. I mean, there was one there a couple of years ago, which I personally was disappointed didn't take off. Maybe it just wasn't its time. But that was to actually put forward a class to learn one of the Chinese dialects.
Wow, you're ambitious, sir.
That was ambitious. Sadly, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Then. But that's not to say it won't happen. It won't happen again. So we're always on the lookout for new activities. We have the obvious ones.
Yeah.
We have the major European languages.
Yes.
We have an absolutely thriving Irish language.
Yeah, of course, the Irish language nowadays is the new thing to be at. It's you know, the Irish language officer in Loyalist East Belfast is the wife of the former leader of the PUP, the Progressive Unionist Party.
Yes.
So everybody's getting into it.
It's starting. I suspect now. I have 10, 15 Irish words maybe. But I suspect, along with a lot of people, that, you know, if you could sort of tread warily for a moment, if you see it depoliticized, and simply become a very ancient, a very highly respected way of people to express themselves to each other. And the Irish language has such a wonderful reputation for poetry, hasn't
of course,
it? Culture, poetry.
You see, I think you're there. I think you're there, and I think you're the exemplar of it, that this language has been taken for what it is in linguistic beauty. That's where you are at the moment with it. And I remember talking about poetry, doing a documentary on the poets of South Ulster, Art McCooey and the like. Yes. And I remembered Jarlath Byrne did the reading of the poem for me, several poems. He's the headmaster out at Paul's at the moment. Now, Jarlath read poetry on the banks of a lake, and I tell you, I didn't understand a word he was saying, but it was chillingly beautiful.
Wonderful.
It was so wonderful, and that's what you were just saying. The beauty of it.
This is the thing, and we were. I was lucky enough, June of last year, with colleagues, U3A colleagues from North Down. Who, as you know, have produced a marvellous tutor teaching pack for local schools because of the great influence of the tutors in this part of Ireland with the O'Neills and all of that history. And we went, we actually went, someone else you'll know quite well, Peter O'Hanlon, well-known local historian, was our guide. Peter was at the front of the coach with the microphone,
doing all that,
giving it, giving it the whole.
I remember.
The whole business.
I think we were talking
and we
to him
took
at that
it all
time.
around the place. Yes, you did actually.
You
had
something.
him
That was lovely.
in another one of your guises.
One of my
you spoke
guises,
to in another medium. But one of the places we stopped, because it's the actual family grave of the O'Neills, is that beautiful Anglican Church of Ireland churchyard.
Cregan.
Cregan. Absolutely beautiful, so peaceful. And of course, one of our Irish tutors was there, Roisin Traynor, and Roisin and her husband had actually been to the family grave of the O'Neills, and was pointing it out to myself and others. And she said, "Oh, and also this graveyard is famous. 3 of the great Ulster poets are buried here. Art McCooey being one of them. And of course, Roisin needing no motivation whatsoever, launched into a few couplets of his poetry in this wonderful church setting. You remember last year, Ron, we had a beautiful summer.
We did.
Not much of a spring, but a beautiful summer. And this was a June day, and there we were, some 40 odd people from North Down Bangor, local people from Newry and Mourne, and there's Roisin declaiming. I don't know if that's quite the word.
Absolutely, declaiming.
The immortal words of Art McCooey. And like your good self, Very few of us had a notion what she was saying, but it sure
sounded good.
It sure sounded good, yeah.
Absolutely.
It sure sounded
so
good.
the qualification to become a member, do people have to be retired?
One of the things I think is that not in full-time employment.
Yes.
And I mean, we try very desperately not to be, one of these organisations which is very dictatorial. You must be this, you must be that. Some people will tell you, got to be over 50. But we have a few folk there who haven't reached that particular milestone yet. We also have people who, although not in full-time employment, are pretty close to it. Now that's because it's probably because, Ron, it's a family business. You know, and they can't sort of say, "Oh, I've reached a certain age now, I can't play any part in the family in the family business."
My difficulty is, if I wanted to be a member, I would come to you with a dual approach. One, I would sort of proffer my pension card. You see, I'm a pensioner, and then I might have to announce, well, yes, I do 6.5 days a week work, so maybe that constitutes full-time employment. So there'd be a dilemma there, you see, to be resolved. But the joy of the place is very good, because most of the folk who go, I'm assuming, have many of the stresses and pressures of life off their shoulders. If they don't have it at 70 off their shoulders, they're in a wee bit of difficulty. But they go there, so there is a kind of a joie de vivre. There's a freedom that allows them to be at ease with the whole experience. And that must create a kind of ethos of U3A. Yeah,
I think one of the things that we have, one of our previous chairs, man you know well, Pat Cunningham.
Ah, yes, Pat.
And Pat used to say that one of the great things about us, and we are an educational organisation at heart, and Pat spent a major part of his career in further education.
He did, yes.
And one of the things that he is always telling people that in all his time professionally in education, there was the career notion of getting forward, ambition. I think we are still an educational institution, but a lot of that careerism has gone.
It's gone, yeah.
I'm not prepared to do you down, to rise myself up, because we're all in the same boat. We're volunteers.
We've been there. We've done all of that in our real working lives.
So that's a great that's a great leveler. That's a great way to get people to cooperate and coordinate and get on with each other in a cohesive way, all moving towards the same same goals.
The same goal of the organisation.
Trying to like the professional file of the this is something Damien will know about, the professional file of the footballer. The guy's running into the 6-yard box and the defenders quietly holding him back.
No, we don't do that anymore.
Outside the view of the referee, tugging his jersey at the back and trying to hold him back. And so we don't have any of that.
No.
There's no tugging back the defense.
But in fact, you raise people up.
We do. We try
exactly
to. We do try to.
So the summer beckons, you'll be back in the water again.
Yes, we will be. And another thing coming up in the spring and summer, something again dear to your own heart, is the stage.
Yeah.
Our drama group.
They're in rehearsals at the moment.
They are in rehearsals
for a full
possibly
play.
Even as we speak.
For a full play.
They're giving us they're not building on the huge success of last year with Kerry Rooney and Kaleidoscope Theatre Company. They did a series of is it too early in the morning to use a fancy French word? Vignettes. Is that the word?
Vignette is very acceptable.
12, 15 vignettes to show the challenges facing you as you move to a different stage of your life. And that was incredibly successful.
Sorry, what did you say there?
Speak up.
Actually, there's remarkably little of that up around the U3A. There's very little infirm, obviously infirm people,
We are fortunate. We are actually fortunate in that sense. Yeah. So, yes, a full play this time. And a collaborative work, very much led and guided by Kerry, of course, who's a professional actor, producer, director, what have you.
But your own,
the experiences of our own guys, and so looking forward to it.
You also come to a point in life where your experience of the past gives you the confidence and the enthusiasm based on, I don't really care. My ego is gone. I don't need. That's the bit. We're not doing this anymore. So people can go with great ease into the business of acting, and they're doing it.
And many of them, I remember last year, Ron, that you actually had some of our members here, and some of them, in fact, were part of the drama group. And one of our colleagues, Rosemary, was telling you on screen that she'd never trod the boards before.
That's right, I
but
recall
she
this
had
thing.
reached a stage in her life where, you know, all timidity and shyness, you know, and that feeling, oh, they'll laugh at me, oh, I'm easily embarrassed, gone.
No, and she was also on the boards of the broadcasting animal, going out to the entire world, you know. So,
Yes, so
all things change.
You're not as conscious, I think. It's you know, the old example of there's a family party, it's some great anniversary, the parents have been married a certain number of years, or it's dad's milestone birthday or something. Hire a hall, have a great knees up, and have music there, live music or whatever form of music, and the first tune's being played, and the young ones are hanging back because they don't want to lose their cool. And out onto the dance floor go, you know, all the so-called older folk, all shapes and sizes,
all gone,
getting out there and shaking all different, you know, shaking whatever bits of themselves that they're able to, you know.
Well,
so that's the wonderful freedom from the fear of embarrassment.
It's great.
It's marvelous.
And you continue to work in those fine arts up there at the U3A. You're very kind coming in. We thank you for it. Well, it's always good because you're a great force for positive attitude within our community. Very well. And thank you very, very much indeed for coming. Chris Roberts there, the chairman of the U3A in Newry, the University of the Third Age. We shall now play you some music, and it shall not be I dreamt that I in marble halls, la la dee do. No, something youthful and appropriate from Dee there.